Hey everybody! So, I just left the Sumrall Public Library's annual Authors Tea, and I announced something really cool that I want to share with you guys. I have a new fantasy book coming out June 15th called Dragoon. I'm attaching the little expose, I guess you could say, of me talking about it from the Authors Tea to this video. So give it a watch. I'm going to be talking a lot more about it as we get closer to the release date. I'm very excited about it. Weird, western, epic, grimdark fantasy, cowboys on dragons. It's cool as can be, man. Stay tuned, more coming. Here's the video. Stand up since I'm kind of in the corner over here. My name's Ethan Williamson. I'm really glad to be here today. I want to apologize ahead of time if I ramble a bit. I did not intend on coming today. About a month ago, I was bitten by a water moccasin and ended up getting a piece of my finger amputated. So this is the first event I've been to since that, so I have nothing prepared in terms of talking points. So if I ramble a bit, just bear with me. I'm also from Seminary, Mississippi. Me and Billy actually went to school together. We like to joke that we have like a Faulkner and Hemingway thing going on here. But we know he's not as good as Hemingway, so it's okay.
I don't drink as much. That's the problem.
By day, I teach marine biology and forensic science over in Brooklyn at the Agricultural High School. And up until very, very recently, I would call myself a short fiction author. I wrote short stories for magazines like Rural Fiction, Yolner Review, stuff like that. And about last year, I decided, why don't I take all my short stories I wrote and put them in an anthology series? So that's what turned into Killing of a Whale and Other Tall Tales. It's 6 different short stories, all in a different genre. I have a western in here, I have a fantasy in here, I have 2 different types of horror stories in here. And I named it after, at the time, my most well-received story, The Killing of a Whale. It's the last one in the collection. And then after I published this, the No Sleep podcast bought the rights to my Bigfoot horror story called Neighbors and did an audio drama of it. And it became my most well-recognized short story. And ever since the podcast, the book's done very, very well. I'm getting a lot of people saying they like it, a lot of good encouragement for it. I love short stories. Short stories do something really cool in the brain. If you're an avid reader like I am, you're used to figuring out what's going to happen by kind of following the plot in like a circle. You're constantly just spiraling down, and you're starting to figure out, oh, this is the point of it. So when you read, that's what your brain's trained to do. You're trained to pick apart a 6,000 word story in a long meandering loop. But when you read a 5,000 word story, it just goes straight to the point. And it's a little jarring, and you remember it better. I grew up reading a lot of short stories, a lot of DC comics, Marvel comics, a lot of like Louis L'Amour snippets and just short media. And that's the stuff that really stuck in my head as a kid. And I think that's the reason why we train ourselves to meander through a story, so when it suddenly just starts, stops, ends, it jars you, it sticks in your head. I'm also very excited to announce, you guys are the first that are going to hear about it, I have my first novel coming out June 15th. It is called Dragoon. It is a monster of a book. It's 700 pages. I'm sorry. My wife will apologize for me. I think like all writers of our generation, everyone wants to be the next George Martin. We all like fantasy stories. That's what we grew up reading. We all want to follow that. So Dragoon is a fantasy story. But I tried to take a very different approach to it. J.R.R. Tolkien famously said that he based his Lord of the Rings books on a lot of Germanic folklore and the Anglo-Saxons history. And that's where he took a lot of inspiration. So when I was writing Dragoon, I said, well, what's my favorite part of history? What do I know the most about? Oh, it's the Civil War. So, Dragoon is not a fantasy story with swords and castles and knights. It is a fantasy story that is steeped in the aesthetics of the 1860s, 1850s. There's black powder weapons, there's trains, there's steam, but there's also, dragon units in the cavalry. So, it's going to be the first book of a series. It's very dark, it's very gritty. I would not recommend reading it if you're under 18, but if you're a teenager and feel like you can punch above your weight class, go for it, man. I won't tell your parents. Yeah, I'm proud to be here, happy to be here, happy to answer questions.